Back. Okay, so now why do I feel that Game Freak hates Coliseum XD Gale Darkness? Why do I feel that they hate the Ore duology? Well, it's clearly evident on how they treated it during the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. They barely gave it any screen time. Clearly something is going on when during the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, you're releasing the sequel instead of the first game, that as well. And honestly, people were anticipating both to come out at the same time. I mean, it's Pokemon's 30th anniversary. Furthermore, many times in the past, there has been a petition for Coliseum and XD Gale Darkness to get remakes and to get a sequel. Has many signatures, and in interviews many times Masuda has laughed at the idea.
Wow.
He doesn't want to, he doesn't even want to talk about it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like every time in an interview Coliseum XD Gale Darkness gets mentioned, they don't want to hear about it, because obviously they could tell that these games have a certain level of charm, quality that the mothership titles have never been able to capture. Because it's so ambitious. It's so when you play XD Gale Darkness, you have a Switch too?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you're ready to play, when you're ready to do a Let's Play of it, you're gonna see why people love it so much. The story, the characters, the music, the graphics, the animations, the mechanics, the whole ideology of Shadow Pokemon, how they became Shadow Pokemon. It's such a beloved concept. Fun fact, there is an actual Shadow Lugia Pokemon card.
Right.
It's not tournament legal for obvious reasons. If you Google the card, it's not an actual card that you could play in the TCG. It's more like a prop, but it's still a card though.
Right.
If they ever did make it into a card, it would be banned immediately. There's no debate. The card is broken. You could go and Google it right now if you want. The Shadow Lugia. It's broken. You can't use it. Period. It's too broken. You see it?
Let me see if I can find it in here. 1,000 damage.
Yeah, you see it. You see it. It's broken.
That's crazy.
Like it's more of a prop than an actual card. It's like, I think it showed up in a tournament at one time. You know those really big cards in those glass cases?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Shadow Lugia is. But if they ever turned that into an actual card in the TCG, it would be banned. You can't play it. It's too busted. It's too powerful. It'd be banned. So, and it's like, oh man, I don't want to spoil the game, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But the point is, it's a charm. It's one of the greatest games in the series, and every time the Ore duology gets brought up, it's like Masuda and the other people of Pokemon. It's like they're like living in Genius Sonority's shadow, which is why I personally feel as though they really don't want to do that sequel. They don't want to remake it. That's why they're doing the bare. Well, really, they're doing less than the bare minimum by putting it to the Switch 2. It's like they don't even say it comes in a collection. It can't even connect with Fire Red and Leaf Green, and that's what it was originally meant to do. It was originally
wow. So they came out around the same time period.
Yes. So you see, like how Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, that was so you could play Gen 1 and Gen 2 in 3D on the TV.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Coliseum and XD Gale Darkness was for Gen 3, so you could play that on the big screen. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. And well, I don't know if you could call it Wi-Fi, but battles, especially Smogon battles for those games, OU, very rare. But if you find it, oh my goodness, it's so It's a cinema. It's a cinema to watch it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really that good. So yeah, now let's get back to Sword and Shit Gen 8 really quick. Remember that meme when they showed you the N64 tree? The really bad
tree. Somebody in our draft league right now has a team that's called the Gen 8 Nuclear Tree, and it's just an image of that tree. The infamous tree. I remember seeing it all over Twitter.
This is the excuse why they cut the Mons. This is the reason why they dexed it. And then it's like it was already confirmed in data mines that Megas, Z moves, and various Mons was already programmed in the game. They weren't fully programmed, but they were already partially programmed. That's why when you play Sword and Shit, when you play Gen 8, you will see moves like Pursuit return, but you can't actually click it. You can't actually use it.
I know, right? They're in the game, but you can't use them. So stupid, bro. They had so many of these moves that just got cut. And it's like at a certain point, I really regret all of my Pokemon that I was too ambitious. As soon as Pokemon Home came out, I wanted to transfer them from Bank to Pokemon Home. I should never have done that. I should have left them all in Ultra Sun and Moon, because then I could have been around for like Joey Fontaine. We were Battle of Joey Fontaine or like other people. They were still in Generation 8 doing Gen 7 Wi-Fi battles when that was possible. I should have left them all there. I could have been doing that. But I will say, I think that because you talk about this gradual spiral, because right, we go from Gen 6 when it's possible to catch all the Mons. You can fill out the national dex. Gen 7, I don't know if you remember this, did not have a national dex. It only had like the 400 regional dex, and that's when people started complaining, like, oh, you catch some of them because you can't fill out a whole dex with all of them. They only had, so you could still put them all in the game. All the Pokemon could go into the game. They're just not going to give you a dex entry form. But even that, we were lucky to have that. We were lucky to still have Megas when it wasn't the mechanic of that generation. We had both Megas and Z moves in one game.
And Ultra Beasts. Don't forget Ultra Beasts.
Ultra Beasts, yeah, too. But then as soon as we get to Gen 8, guess what? No more Megas, no more Z moves. Of course, you're not going to have the national dex anymore, but you can't even get all the Mons in one game anymore. So that was really like in that transition from 3DS to Switch was when all that happened.
Right.
And that was a massive cliff. And I think that's why we saw such a massive drop off of people, because there was such a big change from what we were used to going from generation to generation.
I think one of the reasons why Gen 8 probably sold so well was the people. Excuse me, but I'm gonna call them the people that be dick riding off of Pokemon. They dick ride off of Pokemon so hard. They think Pokemon shit don't stink. The motherfuckers that said, "Oh, thank you, Game Freak. Thank you for Gen 8. Thank you for all the time Pokemon." Bruh, they just fucking lied to your face, and they just pissed and shat on you. They're serving you shit on a silver platter. Fuck you mean thank you? What do you mean thank you?
I mean, I certainly wasn't pleased with Gen 8, but I still got it because I wanted to be able to have Wi-Fi battles. And I knew that I was going to get that capture card, and that's when I started the channel. Right. And I still look back fondly. I mean, the Wi-Fi battles themselves, I got my money's worth. You know, I had a great time. The game itself was not good. I mean, people talk about it's like a straight line. There's no going all over the region. You're just going up Galar in one straight line. Not very creative. I mean, I guess England is kind of like designed that way, but you could have, I don't know, done other stuff, man.
Well, it's not just England. I think, what do you call it again?
Well, I know Isle of Armor is based off the Isle of Man.
Right, Ireland. Sure Ireland was in there. I think Scotland.
Yeah, I don't know what's in there. The Crown Tundra.
Right. Yeah, so it wasn't just England, but
right.
I'm not even upset at you, and I also know that Just Weavile, I think he also started his Wi-Fi battling career.
Oh, I know. That's when I joined the Battle Hub. Back in the day, bro, Battle Hub Discord server had less than 100 people. It was a milestone when we finally hit 100 people, and we had like a tournament based off of that. And that tournament eventually is what led to the Battle Hub Draft League in a way. So it's the whole thing, but yeah.
Honestly, I think based off of Weavile's personality, I think he himself is surprised that he blew up the way he did.
Well, I think there was that. I mean, Shofu and Pokegame, they stopped doing Wi-Fi battles mainly because, guess what? 20-minute timer. That's another thing. Oh, the bane of my existence. The 20-minute timer made battling so hard. And so that's when we saw this massive fall off of people doing Wi-Fi battles, because in order to have sophisticated, complex battles, you need more than 20 minutes.
Right.
So what that forced a lot of us to do, myself included, was I need to make these teams as hyper-offensive as possible. Fix life orbs, just spam life orbs and choice scarves, and just battle as fast as I can, beat the opposing team as fast as I can. And that's what we had to do. And we had a good time with it either way. The reason I joined the Battle Hub server was because I wanted to have battles against good opponents. Because on the online, guess what? They're just spamming Dynamax. And as soon as you go against Dynamax, it's over, because they just get a attack boost and a speed boost, and you're cooked. But then that was a place to have good battles. And I think especially was when he blew up, surprisingly, I think one of his biggest increases was from BDSP, which I never would have expected, but I guess there was a lot of people that didn't like Gen 8.
After the direct, that Dynamaxing has replaced Mega Evolution and Z moves, which is a pretty big deal, because those are two staples in competitive play.
This video is crazy. It's like we talked about the worst possible thing they could have done, and then the thing that we've dreamed about since X and Y. No more Mega Evolution, dude.
Now, obviously, Mega Evolution is cool. I would never say that it's not cool. It is cool it's so cool. It's super cool, and it was really fun in the game itself. But in competitive, it was so pretty messy. Yeah, and then Z moves on top of it too. Super over centralizing.
Yeah, and then Z moves on top of it. It's just been so messy. It's crazy.
Yeah, in standard OU battles, for example, like if you didn't bring a Mega Evolution, you're just at a disadvantage automatically. As well as the same thing with the Z move. So you pretty much have to bring counters to a Mega Evolved Pokemon. You have to bring your own, and you have to bring a Z move to every single battle. Whereas with just Dynamaxing, you don't really have to bring anything, because you can Dynamax any of your Pokemon at any time.
Yeah, and it's not item based. We actually saw that it wasn't item based for the first time, because
every Pokemon had Everstone.
That had an Everstone, yeah.
Yeah, every Pokemon in the demo has an Everstone, because they don't want Pokemon to evolve. So they gave them all Everstones, but you could still Dynamax your Pokemon.
Yeah,
so I'm pretty sure your item's not going to matter when you Dynamax.
The fact that Dynamaxing is any Pokemon can Dynamax also means you don't have to build your team around, this is my Dynamax Pokemon.
Exactly.
In the battle itself, on the fly, you can be like, right, this is where I need to Dynamax.
Exactly.
I'm sweeping with this Mon, it's already +2/+2, but it's going to die here if I don't Dynamax, so I have to Dynamax. And then you get those 3 turns.
That's much better than Mega Evolution that just lasts the entire battle, or a Z move on Pokemon that doesn't really have a strong move to take out the Pokemon you have out, but now they do. They can just kill you, and now you have nothing for this Pokemon. So I'm actually really excited about that, because I
love the era of Diamond and Pearl, so then they got onto that, and we just saw a huge, I think we got over 1,000 just for BDSP.
Now my thing is this with my nickname for BDSP is Bullshit Diamond Shitty Pearl.
Yeah, I hate that game. One of my least favorite games of all time. And here's the reason why. Because the TMs were impossible to get. Me, who loves to breed and who loves to create the Pokemon myself, you can't do it. You have to freaking go into the underground and find these massive amounts of shards. And it just can't be done. My buddy, Notorious HIM, somehow he told me, I did an interview with him, and he did it. I wasn't doing that. I said, I got like a box of 30 of competitive Pokemon, and I was done. I went back to Sword and Shield after that, because I just could not be messed with to do all that with the TMs.
Yeah, Notorious.
The chibi graphics and all that, like I can excuse all that, as long as at least the meta was good, and I had a place to do Gen 4 battles that Shofu had always talked about in Pokemon, always talked about in praise, just like one of the golden eras of Wi-Fi battles.
That's his origin story, right? That's his origin.
And so I wanted to experience that, and I kind of did, but what came with the faithful remake part was the teams being the way they were. I wish, because Oras was such a good remake in my opinion, I had such a good time with it, and if it would have been like Oras, it would have been just fine. Because what did we do in Gen 6? We didn't just stick with on X and Y. I transferred all my Pokemon to Oras and did the battling over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I know Notorious. We've battled. I don't know if you've watched the battles we had, but yeah, I know Notorious. He's another cool guy. He's another. He's another somebody from the Weavile Corporation. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So if he ever wants to do a voice of the people, he knows where to find me.
Yeah.
Now getting back to bullshit Diamond Shitty Pearl. Now, when you play bullshit Diamond Shitty Pearl, what pops into my mind is Battle Revolution. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, why am I Wi-Fi battling here when I can Wi-Fi battle in Battle Revolution where the graphics is better? There's no 20-minute timer. In fact, I think the timer is like what? 99 minutes, 99 seconds.
Wow, even longer than X and Y with 60 minutes.
Yeah, and again, better graphics, better animations. Like, I've noticed that a lot of Battle Revolution Wi-Fi battle videos have been popping up recently on my news feed. So if you ever get to look at Battle Revolution and you see why I hold it on such a high pedestal. Now, the only thing with Battle Revolution is that I guess certain Pokemon didn't learn certain moves and they didn't have hidden abilities, but it's like, who cares? Look at these graphics. Look at these animations.
I wish that I had the opportunity to be able to play on that. That would have been incredible.
I one time had a small conversation with Hayden as to why didn't you and Shofu and them battle in Battle Revolution? Because back in the day, like, you didn't just have Wi-Fi battles on the DS. Battle Revolution Wi-Fi battles was also prominent back in the day. In fact, you do know that nowadays we have a lot less Poketubers than we did during the late early 2000s and the mid 2000s, like the mid 2000s. I don't know if you realize that.
Well, I wasn't around. Well, I was around, but I wasn't in the Pokemon community back in the mid 2000s. I mean, I joined in X and Y, and at least from what I remember, it seemed like we had a big resurgence in how many Poketubers were there.
We did.
And I feel like it really peaked around Gen 6, and then it was just like a lot of people that we used to watch started falling off around Gen 7 and 8.
Right. But the point is, like, so I asked Hayden, why didn't you and Shofu Wi-Fi battle in Battle Revolution? He said that just doing the regular DS battles, that was the standard. But there were OU battles in Battle Revolution. In fact, when I Wi-Fi battled Xenon and I posted on my channel the first Wi-Fi battle me and Xenon did, I actually uploaded a video of Xenon's Wi-Fi battles back in the day, and ironic enough, it was a Battle Revolution Wi-Fi battle.
Wow.
Yeah, you could check it out in the link in the description. It's one of my favorite battles that he ever had, and he had it with PokeTuber, which that PokeTuber doesn't upload battles anymore, but they used to. So it's like back in the day, Wi-Fi battling, it blew up like crazy. You remember the PokeTuber or ever heard of Peekawoo? You ever heard of that? The Peekawoo?
I don't think I heard of him, no.
Yeah, the Peekawoo, he's a... Well, I don't know him personally, but from the little that I do know about him, he's a really cool guy. He used to do Wi-Fi battling streaming events where he would earn money for charity.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, he was the way how he would battle, like he would go into detail as to why he made his teams, why he would use what he would use. I remember him bringing a Vivillon to OU, and he would go into details to why he would use Vivillon. And like, apparently Vivillon, it has the ability Compound Eyes, and it could spam the ever-living...
Spam sleep powders.
and Hurricane without the use of rain. So Vivillon was actually really good, but you would never know that because, again, Smogon in the tier system. But the point is, he was one of those OGs, and he's gone now. I mean, his channel is still there, but he's gone now. So it's like back in the day, he had a whole bunch of content creators. All right.
I mean, I think that if you used Vivillon in the lower tiers, you would definitely know. I think that one of the places you might not, because I hear all the time from people who play VGC, just a side tangent, they don't know a lot of these niche things like this. They get caught off guard. When me and my buddy Rickstar brought Charge-A-Bug to a regional, they didn't know what its ability battery did, that it boosts the special attack of its partner by 30%. So it's like, a lot of these guys that just use the top meta threats, it's like they don't know all the other stuff. Yeah.
Now, I want to briefly go back to Gen 8.
Yeah.
So I'm not upset with content creators like you or Weavile that indulged Gen 8, because I get it. Everybody, that was when you started your career as a content creator. I'm upset with people like Pokeaim and Shofu, especially Shofu. Here's why I'm really upset with Shofu. Again, remember how we talked about with Shofu, notice that Pokemon's been dropping in quality during Gen 6? Remember how we talked about that? If you pay close attention to Shofu's Twitter page, he just kept on going on and on about how Pokemon is a shitty series and it's really going down the shit. These games are bad. Bro, why didn't you boycott Gen 8? Gen 8 was the perfect time for you to boycott. If you had boycotted Gen 8, you know how many people would have followed you on that? A lot of people.
I don't know if they would have followed him on it. I feel like
I think they would.
They might have given in. And here's why I know why. Because those same people that talk about that, I don't know what it is, bro. As soon as Fire Red Leaf Green comes out on the eShop, all these people complaining about having to pay $20, guess what they do? They pay $20.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Maybe not all of them, but a good chunk of them. And same thing with Pokopia. That's because Pokopia was honestly kind of a console seller. People were buying Switch 2s just to play Pokopia. Eventually, they give in because the FOMO. They see all the other Pokemon players playing it, and it's like, oh, I gotta get in on it.
And it's tempting. It's tempting.
There was a very, I know there was a, just from anecdotal evidence, I know a lot of people personally that skipped Gen 8 specifically because of all the issues with it, Dexit and all the graphics and all that. So I think it's fair that there was a good chunk that might have skipped it, yeah.
And the thing is, like, Shofu talks all this smack about the series, but when Gen 8 starts coming out, you know what he starts saying about Gen 8? He starts saying, oh, I can't wait because the meta, because certain mons are being taken out of the game, that means the meta is affected, that means other mons, they could shine in this ecosystem. Bro, really? You keep pissing and shitting on, you've been pissing and shitting on Pokemon since Gen 6. Now is the time for you to be the leader that we need you to be, to set the example, and now you're getting sidetracked by the meta. And yet, it's ironic that he talks about how good the meta is going to be, because guess what? Gen 8, look at his Wi-Fi battles. There's like, what, 8 Wi-Fi battles that he did for Gen 8?
Yeah, not that many.
Right, exactly. So Gen 8 is the generation where he did the least OU Wi-Fi battles.
I mean, to be fair, I think a big part of that was the 20-minute timer.
It could be. It could be. But at the same time, when was the 20-minute timer introduced? That's a Gen 8 thing. So that just adds on to the fiasco that is Gen 8. That Gen 8 is the Pokemon apocalypse.
Yeah, it is.
And again, like I said, Shofu should have been the one to set the example. He should have been the one to be like, well, I'm not getting it because you cut out the Pokemon, the game. Honestly, Gen 8 really just looked like Ultra Sun and Moon in HD. That's all it looked like. It looked like Ultra Sun and Moon in HD. And I remember having these conversations with people back in the day, and they would get so upset because they didn't want to accept the truth, because that's exactly what it looked like. They were reusing assets.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like Shofu's my goat from back in the day. I always love watching him. I feel like he probably just doesn't care.
But let me give you my opinion on all this, because that's what I really want to do here. As a competitive battler, I don't really care that all the Pokemon are missing. I don't play the game for that. I don't really play the game for the story either, or the main campaign or the main game. I play the battle. That's what I do. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years on YouTube. And it's just not a thing I care about too much personally. Obviously, I can sympathize with the people that do, but personally, it's not going to affect my, enjoyment of the game. I can enjoy that game if it's good, regardless of how many Pokemon are actually present. All I really want to do is catch the new Pokemon, see what moves they have, see what type they are, and then take them and go battle. So, me personally, all the Pokemon not being present is not going to affect me too much. But obviously, I can sympathize with the people that absolutely will care about that. The thing is, guys, I personally do not care, but obviously I feel a lot of sympathy for the people that do care. And that's because for years I've been criticizing Game Freak and Pokemon. For years. And I've been getting a lot of backlash for it. People think I hate the game. People think I only play the game for views. People think that I'm just a hateful person and that I hate on Pokemon every chance I get. That's not true. I love Pokemon more than a lot of people out there. That's why I criticize it, because I want it to be a good game. I want it to be better.
At a certain point, I think he just doesn't care anymore. He only comes on usually to like, because it's always been my dream to one day, at least my 13-year-old self, it was always my dream to have a Wi-Fi battle with Shofu. I've had a few Wi-Fi battles with Pokemon, but it's always wanted to battle him. And I think he just doesn't care anymore. He usually hops on just to like ride the hype wave, like the new generation. He's always seen as like this symbol from like the Pokemon ciphers and all the battles that he's. At one point, he was one of the most subscribed Wi-Fi battlers. So people always look to him, but I think he just doesn't care. I don't think he wants to like influence all these people, like do whatever he says. I think honestly, he's like, man, it's just a game. I think he just doesn't care enough to like be able to start a boycott movement. You know what I mean?
That's fair, but well, the same way how it's fair for him to do that, the same way how it's fair for people like me to call him out on his bullshit and to call him for what he is. You know, he's a fucking poser, man. That's
calling Shofu a poser.
Yeah, I'm calling him a poser.
Hey, I'm a Tulama. I don't endorse that. No.
That's fine. And you know what? If for whatever reason at all, Shofu is watching this video, I doubt it. But for whatever reason, if he is, you got an issue with what it is I said to you, bruh. I'm on Discord, bruh. Say it in the comments section. Prove me wrong. You had the choice to be the hero, the leader that we needed. You could have boycotted Pokemon. Pokemon could have been better. All these years you talked shit about the series just to indulge it and buy it like everybody else. Bro, get the fuck out of here. You're a fucking cock-sucking dick rider off of Game Freak and Pokemon like everybody else. And
you see, and that's the thing I want.
Emeraldminer is cool with you, but not me, bro. Not me. I'm on a witch hunt for you, bro. I'm on a fucking witch hunt. You got a problem with that? Say it in the fucking comment section. Hit me up on Discord. I'll whoop your ass in a Wi-Fi battle, bro. I'll whoop your ass. I'll upload that shit. For everybody to see. How much of a poser you are, bro.
Do you remember the Sergeant Bash back in the day that they used to put him in the Pokemon cipher? It was some guy that like challenged Shofu and Shofu ended a body bag, and it was a whole thing. But listen, I wanted to talk to you about the boycotts, right? Because we've talked, or you've mentioned in your other videos, and the reason why, I mean, boycotting, yes, has been effective in the past, right? But I think in our modern capitalist society, I'm just not sure that the boycott movement could ever work. Maybe it's because we've all become so fragmented. That's the thing with society, right? Everybody's in their own space. We all have our own little niches. Monoculture is dead. So trying to get a movement together of all the Pokemon players through all of their different. You got VGC players, you got Shiny Hunters, you got Smogon players, you got all these different Nuzlockers. There's no way that you're going to get them all to coalesce around one goal and say, we're not going to boycott this game. I mean, just look what happened with Pocopia and look what happened with Fire Red Leaf Green. Some of these games that online, people had all this hate generated and like, oh, don't buy it, don't give Game Freak your money. Same with ZA. And then guess what happens? Every time. You can't. There's just no way to get all these people to agree on one thing because everybody has all these different views and opinions.
Right.
And I think Game Freak knows that. And that's the unfortunate thing, right? That's why they're probably never going to change, unfortunately. That's the cynic within me. It knows that there's not really a lot that we can do apart. I mean, voice your opinions for sure. Let Game Freak know, and maybe by some miracle they'll hear what we say if we say it loud enough. Because we're not going to be able to reduce the sale numbers enough, I don't believe.
Right.
But maybe they'll see enough comments on Twitter. That's why I keep telling them they need to put 6v6 singles in Pokemon Champions. I don't know if they'll ever do it, but hopefully maybe one day. But to affect the sales numbers, especially with think about their target audience being they're not going to listen to that. They're going to ask their parents, "Hey, Mom, can I get the new Pokemon game?" Like, sure, little Timmy, let's get you a new Pokemon game. You're not going to be able to make a dent really in the. I mean, people might. I mean, just think about. I remember all the stuff coming out about Gen 9 about look at these graphics in this trailer. Don't buy this game. Just look at what they did to Gen 8. Don't buy this game. And then what happens? First weekend, 10 million copies sold. You can't stop it. It's too powerful. It's a runaway machine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you never try, you never know.
That's true. I convince you. I mean, for sure. Let the people know. I mean, that's what this is for. The voice of the people. Let the people know your opinions. Let people let Game Freak know what they're doing wrong.
Right.
I'm just saying. I mean, trying to get an effective boycott movement. It's a real uphill battle, man.
You're right. It is. It is because people they're hypnotized by Pokemon's charm, and I don't blame them because I don't have a Switch 2. I could get a Switch 2, but I don't have it. I am, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm divided if I should get the Switch 2, if I should, just so we're clear, I didn't even get Fire Red Leaf Green on the virtual console. I mean, that doesn't mean that I won't get it because, say if people wanted to do if people wanted to see me do a Let's Play, right?
Yeah, that's why I got it. I mean, I did a Nuzlocke of Fire Red.
Mm-hmm. Right. If people wanted to see me do a Let's Play and then I could use the Mons and I could transfer it to Champions.
Yeah.
So, then I would contemplate getting Fire Red and Leaf Green. But let's get this out of the way here. So... Yeah. What you said about oh my goodness, damn man, we have so much to talk about. Damn, another only 10 minutes. Let me hurry up and say what I gotta say.
Yeah.
So Game Freak, Pokemon Co, they see us as suckers. Plain and simple. We're suckers to them. You ever watch Ed, Edd n Eddy?
Oh, of course, bro. That's one of the classics on Cartoon Network.
Right. So, you see how Eddie keeps on coming up with scams and he's trying to con the kids.
Get those quarters to get those
exactly for the jawbreakers. Right. So that's what we are to Pokemon Co, Game Freak, and Nintendo. We're a bunch of loser sucker pigeons that they could con us, scam us, and everybody who bought, well, not everybody, most people who bought Fire Red, Leaf Green, they're a bunch of suckers, man. Now, if you bought Fire Red and Leaf Green and you did a Let's Play, I don't really see you as a sucker. The reason why I don't see you as a sucker is because that's more of an investment.
Exactly. Because, the same with why I bought the Switch too.
Right, exactly, because you're getting views, and with views, you see how you have more than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah. You're entitled to getting money from YouTube if you have. Right, exactly. Depending on the subscribers and the views. So for you, it's an investment. You invested, and then on top of that, you have a multi-purpose with Fire Red and Leaf Green. You could transfer them on to champions. So
Exactly.
it's more of an investment to you. But for most people that do not have a channel, or they do not use Pokemon champions, they just bought it for the sake of buying it because they have zero impulse control. They're suckers. They're suckers. It may be offensive to hear me say it, but that is how Pokemon Co. and Game Freak see it. They see you as a fucking sucker, and they're going to manipulate and exploit the hell out of your lack of impulse control.
Here's what I will say about the Pokemon. Now, this is just me making an educated guess about the community as a whole. I feel like the Pokemon community has probably one of the, or maybe it's a constant across every gaming community. I feel like there's a very high rate of like neurodivergent / autistic people. I mean, I've never been tested, but I feel like I'm somewhere on the neurodivergent spectrum just with my personality. And the thing about what autistic people do is they like to do the same thing over and over again. So they're perfectly content every 3 years get the next Pokemon game and play it for hours. And that's what I will say is one of the great things about Pokemon is, like, especially back in the day on the 3DS, pay $40, get over 1,000 hours of entertainment. It's really a great return, you know, compared to most other games where you just play through it once and that's it. You don't really play it again. Maybe one more playthrough, but Pokemon, hours and hours of breeding and battle. It's worth it for the price that they're giving me because I'm playing it so much. But at a certain point, a lot of us, you know, we're going to get the next thing. We're just going to keep doing it because for people of habit, we habitually keep getting these games, and they know that. They know that they're going to keep on the clock. As soon as the next gen comes out, people are ready to spend their money.
Right.
And that might give them an incentive to say, hey, these same group of people are coming back again and again. We've got them. So it doesn't really matter what we do. We can, you know, don't have to try as hard because we know that they're going to get the next game. And that's what I agree, that there is something to the fact that we should not necessarily mindlessly buy every single Pokemon game because we don't want to encourage that behavior from them.
Exactly.
In a capitalist society where they know that no matter what they do, we're going to get Pokemon games, we're going to give them money. We don't want that. We want them to produce quality Pokemon games. So we have to have some sort of mechanism to prevent them from going to that extreme.
Right. You're right. And now, you also have to keep in mind that with Fire Red and Leaf Green, and I would assume they probably also did this with Sword and Shield, you have people going out of their way to buy multiple versions of the same game just to prove a point. It's like, because you're also aware that the number of copies sold does not necessarily reflect the number of people playing it, right?
That is true, yeah. People are buying. I never really got behind, usually. I usually only buy one. Because I usually always have friends to be able to trade with. Now, I did make an exception. I made an exception for Leaf Green. I got Fire Red, and I wanted to evolve one of my mons in my playthrough, so I got Leaf Green. But I'll probably also play through Leaf Green anyways into my own personal playthrough of that, because it has different mons. So, I mean, it was okay in my head to do that. But every time a new generation comes out, I do not need to get the other game because I'm going to be focused on the one game, and I'm going to ask people on Discord for the version exclusives.
Right. Like if you want to use Alakazam, you want to use Gengar,
I'll ask
Gold.
people, and people will ask me too, and we'll trade, and trade Evos.
And that's how they got us with the Fire Red, Leaf Green re-releases. Me and my homeboy, we actually spoke about this, not in the Voice of the People. We are going to talk about it in Voice of the People, but we before we did Voice of the People, we talk about this in private. The reason why Pokemon did not release the Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Advance games like as this legacy collection, the reason why they just released Fire Red and Leaf Green separately, it's so because they will maximize their profits in doing that because they don't have an incentive in making this classical legacy collection, because you have these other gaming companies that's doing the legacy collections. I'll give you an example. Konami with the Yu-Gi-Oh legacy collection on the Switch, Capcom with the Mega Man Battle Network and the Mega Man Star Force collections. You have all the games, the classic games in there. It has Wi-Fi internet connection. It has cross platform. So if I have the Switch version, you have the Xbox version, and your friend has the PlayStation version, you could still battle and trade with each other, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could play any kind of version you want. You don't, somebody else could play the version exclusive, or you could play the version exclusive. You have that choice. And you also have little graphical improvements, like you could play it the pixelated version, you could play it the non-pixelated, smoother, modern day version. You play it at 60 frames per second. You have a speed mode where you do the fights and stuff. You could kind of like speed up the animation so you could get through stuff a lot faster. Fire Red, Leaf Green Pokemon did not add any of those features. I mean, they gave us the events, which that's something.
That was at least get your Deoxys. I still have to do that.
Deoxys, Lugia, and Ho-Oh as well, right? So they gave you that, but it's like there's no internet, there's no widescreen, there's no speed up.
Yeah, I know. That's another big reason why I got the Switch 2, because I knew I had my OLED, and so I knew with the Switch 2 that would give me now the ability to have two Switches, so that I fire out on one, Live Green on the other, then I can trade and do that for other future Pokemon games too.
And the thing is, Pokemon, they could have easily made a legacy collection. The point I want to stress out is this. Why should we give them money for doing, some people call it the bare minimum, I call it less than the bare minimum. When they're doing less than the bare minimum, when there are these other corporations that are making only a fraction of what Pokemon is making, and they're giving us all these different features, these collections, giving us that extra incentive. Don't you want better for yourself? I get it. Pokemon is really good. Nostalgia, we love it. But it's like, when do you put your foot down and say, I'm not getting it because you're treating me like a sucker, you're looking down on me, and I'm not going to let you get away with that? When do we come together as a community and we do the general consensus? What is it going to take for us to do that? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know we're about to end, but I know that the Virtual Console and the DS, those games were $10 a piece. So it wasn't. I got all of those just before the eShop ended, because I wanted to have them all preserved on my DS to be able to play.
Right.
So inflation has happened. They're on the Switch now, so I can imagine where they might have gone to $20. But it's just one of those things where capitalism.
Honestly, I might just make this a two-parter. So like the first two that we did, I'll probably put them together. And then at the end of that, it'll say like part 2 coming next.
Yeah.
So I'll probably do that. I think these videos should only be like a little over an hour long. I think so. Yeah, because how people, they have short attention spans and whatnot.
Right, true, yeah.
Yeah, so you were saying something earlier and then you got cut off. You remembered what it is you wanted to say?
I think something about capitalism. Basically that the Virtual Console games, right, when they came out, they were $10 a piece.
Right.
Which for me back in the DS, that was pretty easy. I think I got them too late to use my credit card. I had to go out and I had to get the eShop cards,
right,
put them on there manually and get all the games on there. And I had like all 6 of like the 3 Gen 1 games, the 3 Gen 2 games, and on my other DS, I bought one of each generation. That way I could easily trade in between and do any trading evolutions. So now anytime, I literally a few years ago, I completed the Pokedex for Generation 1, all 151. You know, I did the glitch to get the Mew. And I wanted to do that for Gen 2, but I just haven't finished it, gotten around to it yet. But I mean, that's always like preserved there. So now I have them there. And so now we come to the present, and I've been advocating, like, let's get the virtual console games on the Switch. Let's get Gen 3 on there, you know? And they came out with a $20 price tag. I was like, yeah, I can see how some people might be upset by this. I mean, for me, I'm perfectly willing to pay it, just because, I mean, like you said, I'm going to get multiple things out of it, so it's an investment for me. And I'll probably even pay... I might not buy it all at once. I'll probably get maybe like one at a time of like the Gen 3 games, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, when they come out. Probably do the same thing where I can trade in between them. But I would love to have those games on there. Even Gen 4 or however many they put on there. So when you talk about like one, because they kind of did that. I remember like Super Mario, they did that. They had Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy. And I had bought that before too. I mean, that's basically like $20 for each game too, though. So I don't know how much it would be if they were to do them all in one. I don't really mind them having them all split up, as long as, I mean, if they were each $60, that would be, whoa, this is too much. Way too much for an old classic game. I mean, realistically, this should probably be like $15, but I guess they didn't want to do that. I guess they wanted to round it up to 20, but you know, there's a little bit of capitalism and greed there for sure. But for me, it's worth it. I mean, I can understand if people have already played those games and they don't really feel like doing it, for sure. You don't have to get them. For me, I never got to play them, so it was worth it.
Oh, you never played the original?
No, I missed it, bro. Only time I played it was again in an emulator situation versus Tony Torkel in a Nuzlocke race.
Now, like for me, if they were to take the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance games, Gen 1, 2, 3, put it in this classic collection, like on one cartridge, personally, to me, they could have sold it for $100 and nobody would have complained.
Yeah,
no one would have complained.
It would be worth that. It would definitely be worth that.
Yeah, especially if they added online connectivity, they added the widescreen, they added you could pick whatever kind of languages you wanted. Let me tell you a fun feature that Capcom did with the Mega Man collection, Battle Network and Star Force. So the characters that you encounter in the game, they'll show up on the menu screen before you pick which game it is you want to play, right? Wow. And they'll talk to you. It's like they're interacting with the gamer, and they'll say various lines or make references to the game, to the series that you're playing. So like in Battle Network, you'll see Mega Man EXE talking to the player before he starts playing the game, and he'll make references to the games that he's in. In the Star Force collection, this one's really good. Now, you'll have Star Force Mega Man, you'll also have other characters that's in the game that will interact with the player, and they'll make references to various characters and moments in the game. So what they could have done with Pokemon, the Legacy Classic Collection, if they did that, they could have had the protagonist and the rivals from Gen 1, 2, and 3 talk to the player with voice acting and make references to I know, could you imagine how awesome that would have been?
I know. So obviously it's possible. Other games and other gaming companies are able to do this.
They're already doing it.
I don't know why they can't do this with Pokemon. Well, I think
you already know why. You know why.
Obviously, the people in charge of Game Freak, they're not willing to do some of this stuff. So maybe what we need is fresh blood. We need some of these younger players, probably people that played Pokemon more recently and know some of this stuff and know what can be possible We need them to move up into the ranks at Game Freak and start making waves and start rocking the boat and start advocating for more of this stuff.
But it has to start with us. It has to start with us, the consumer. If we keep buying the slop, the garbage, the shit, it's not going to get better.
Right. Well, you see, the problem though is like, even if, I mean, you can have some small percentage that might argue and might protest and might not buy it. I'm just not sure that they're. I mean, people have said with CA, right, how little they put into that game and how easy it was for them to make a profit off of it, right? So with stuff like that, they're kind of insulated from any type of boycotting effects. So we need to have some sort of like, I don't know, like campaign, like videos like this, or like comments being made online. You get enough of those spurred up and those start to disseminate throughout the general public, and then people start to say, hey, I should expect more from these games, and maybe some of them will boycott, maybe some of them won't. But the overall consensus among the community should be, hey, we want more from our Pokemon games. And hopefully eventually that reaches the people at Game Freak in one way or another. I think that's kind of the best we can hope for.
Now, what you said about ZA, I wouldn't say it's a complete lost cause. While ZA is a commercial success because it sold well over 10 million units, it sold like 13 million and some change units. It might still be selling just a little tiny bit more, but it's still considered a failure to Game Freak and Pokemon Co. because it sold less than Scarlet and Violet, and it sold less than Legends Arceus.
I was about to say, right. What's the Legends Arceus sales? Okay, so Legends Arceus was 14.83 million. I mean, it's been out for longer. I mean,
Arceus sold more than that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's by 2023.
Yeah, Arceus is supposed to sell like today. 18, 19.
Really? Wow.
You see it? You see it there?
Not yet. I probably have to go on to like the sales for all Pokemon games, sales of Pokemon games, but I can believe it. Me personally, Legends Arceus was actually probably one of my least favorite Pokemon games. I just think that the complete lack of any battling and like online battling really like undercut it for me. I mean, the reason why I like ZA so much is mainly because ZA or X and Y was my first Pokemon game, so I got a lot out of the story and I got a lot out of seeing the characters later.
Right.
Yeah, of course they should have put way more. They should. I mean, where is Diantha? Where's all these other people at? They should have had them all. But at least for me, it was a nice way because I never got Pokemon Z. You know, Pokemon X and Y started the trend of, well, no, I can't say that because there was another version for Ultra Sun and Moon, but X and Y never got its sequel. You know, so it missed out on that. So for me, that kind of fulfilled that. That's why I was really happy when the trailer came out for it.
Right.
Yeah, I could see here. Yeah, at least for Arceus. Well, this must not be updated. So even Bulbapedia doesn't have the updated numbers. But I'll take your word for it. That sounds accurate, somewhat. That after 3 more years, it would have sold another 3 to 5 million, roughly.
So like it's so from what you saw so far, Arceus, it shows that Arceus sold like 14 or 15 mil.
Yeah, around 15 million.
That's like you said,
it would go up to like 18 million because it's been so much more time.
Right. Now the thing is, like, I know you said that you don't really like Arceus very much, but you have to keep in mind that Arceus was more about world building. Is going into the lore of Pokemon. Right. That's why you see it's the Sinnoh region before it was even called Sinnoh.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm sure that if Diamond and Pearl was my first Pokemon game, I probably would have been a lot more into that. Right. I mean, just like X and Y was my first Pokemon game, and I was a lot more into Legends ZA than your average player.
Right. Yeah, and honestly, with ZA could have been a lot better. You only explore Lumiose. They could have, They could have had you explore other parts, parts of the region. They could have put in more stuff. The DLC is, well, I never played the DLC, but what I know about the DLC so far, it's pretty weak. Fun fact, I'm actually doing a Let's Play of ZA. Did you know that?
Yeah, I've seen it in my suggested. Yeah, I haven't really watched it, but yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Really? It actually pops up in your suggested list on YouTube?
Sometimes, yeah, not as often anymore, but I know that I'd seen it.
You should watch it because my Let's Play, let me tell you something, it's unlike anybody else's. I like to think it's a lot fun.
I think you mentioned it in the other videos. It's more of like you're critiquing it as you play it.
Exactly. It's like a satire. It's like a satire, right? Like you know the character Evior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I made him into a communist.
Nice.
And the thing is, he kind of is a communist because he's saying stuff like, "Oh, the fist of justice. We need to get rid of wild zones. People in Pokemon should be equal." He's a communist. He's a fucking communist.
I think he's definitely an environmental activist or something like that.
Nah, man, he's a fucking commie, bro. He believes in equality, even when people and things aren't exactly equal. He stands for it. That's why he wants everybody to join the Fist of Justice, so he can. Like I made
your comrades, your brothers and sisters.
Exactly. In fact, I made Evior a Russian. Soviet Union supporting communist.
Oh, I didn't even think about that with the name Ivor. That makes sense. Although his sister, it does not fit that. It's so weird that they're brother and sister.
Yeah, I did something else funny with the sister that I'm not gonna go into too much detail because I haven't uploaded those episodes yet. But if you ever decide to watch my Let's Play, like in fact, you could go on the playlist on my channel. The Let's Play is there. You could look at the thumbnails. The thumbnails give you an idea of what each episode is, and you'll see what I mean when I made Evior into a Russian Soviet Union supporting communist. You'll see what I mean. Like I said, my Let's Play of ZA is unlike anybody else's. You will never see a Let's Play like ZA like mine. That's because I take comical and editing influences from my favorite content creators. You've probably never heard of them. Sir Lionheart, Nico B, and the Great Clement. They're not PokeTubers. They're YouTubers. They do Let's Plays.
I see.
And I take inspiration from their commentary. They have a unique sense of humor. And I put that energy into the Let's Play of my Pokemon Legends ZA, and that's why you'll never experience a Pokemon Let's Play like mine, because when you see other people do Let's Plays, they don't really put humor, they don't really put energy into it, they don't even really put voices, like a unique spin onto various characters in their Let's Play. They just play through the game and they read the dialogue, and I guess that's fine. But here's another way how to fight the tyranny that's going on with Pokemon. Introduce different games to people in the Pokemon community. Did you know that a lot of people in the community, Pokemon is the only game they've ever played? They've never played Digimon, they never played Yokai Watch, they never played. Yeah, there's so many games, so many genres, so many franchises.
Probably the only other JRPG game that I've played really is Fire Emblem, and that was just because of Smash.
Right. What about Xenoblade? You played Xenoblade?
I just recently got Xenoblade 2 for the Wii U, but I need to get a new Wii U Pro controller because mine is not working, so it made the game unplayable. But I think they're about to re-release the updated versions for the Switch, so I'm probably gonna get those and play those for Switch, all of the Xenoblade games. Right.
And that's just Nintendo JRPGs. Pokemon, Xenoblade, Fire Emblem, that's just Nintendo. Could you imagine the different series? There's Final Fantasy. I know you know about that. There's Dragon Quest.
Yeah, a lot of those games I've definitely wanted to play at some point. My love for Pokemon and my love for Wi-Fi battles has kind of forced me to only focus on that. That's why I'm slowly trying to like go back and like in my off seasons of Pokemon, when I get my Pokemon fatigue, I'm like, all right, let me go play something else.
Right.
Introduce myself to a new game.
Right. There's also Persona. I'm sure you heard about the Persona series.
Another one. Yeah. Yeah. See, there's so many games. It's sometimes it can feel a bit overwhelming because it's like, let me just stay in my little Pokemon corner over here.
Right. Exactly.
But eventually, over time, I do want to go out, branch out into some of those other games.
In fact, that's one of my goals for my channel. It's not just to give people a space where they could express themselves freely. It's also to show people where there are other games out there. Like right now, I'm doing a Let's Play of ZA, but I have plans to do Let's Plays of other games on my channel to show people, well, there are other games out there. You don't just have to play Pokemon, you know?
Yeah.
Give other games a chance.
And that's what circles back to the neurodivergent part. Is like, it can be tough sometimes. It's very easy to just stay in one game and just focus on that, like hyper fixate on that one game. And I often do that, as I have for years. I've hyper fixated on Pokemon. And it's kind of taken me away from playing other games. And in one sense, it saves me money, because I'm perfectly content just playing Pokemon for years, and so I don't have to go out and buy all these other games. Of course, now that a lot of the games are so old, I can kind of go back and get them on the cheap and play them then. But
yeah, but now, because the direction Pokemon has been going, like I said, with the apocalypse starting in Gen 8, is it really a good idea to indulge Pokemon some more? Maybe it's time to put Pokemon to the back seat and try something else until Game Freak and Pokemon Co. start giving us what we want. Like, for starters, 6v6 singles and champions.
yeah.
Are you willing to just indulge VGC or Battle Stadium singles for the rest of your life? What happens if Gen 10 comes out and Gen 10 doesn't even bother to add the Wi-Fi battling feature? All you have is champions.
Afraid of, is that Gen 10 might not have the battles. They might be saying, I think that's why they made champions. They say, we're going to have all the competitive stuff on champions so we can enhance the actual games and make those better. When it's like, well, you could have just had the Wi-Fi battles on the game itself, but whatever. I mean, I was fine with it on champ. The reason why I tolerate Pokemon Champions is because of Megas. I miss Megas so much. The glory of Mega Evolution that was introduced in Generation 6. I want to go back and play that. And I've been having a grand old time. Just like, there's so many Megas. I can make one like hour-long battle video showcasing one Mega and just get hours of content out of that.
Right.
So I've been perfectly content with that. And I'm going to keep on doing that. Now, at a certain point, there might hit a point where I say, you know what, they're not adding 6v6 singles, or until they add 6v6 singles after I've kind of done my thing with VGC. Because right now I pay them the subscription to have 1,000 Pokemon boxes. I might say, well, you know what, I might keep Pokemon Champions and keep playing it, but maybe I'll stop paying the subscription and I'll just move all my Pokemon back to Pokemon Home and just keep like maybe the essential ones that I need to be able to play VGC well, you know what I mean? Because right now I think I have, because they give you more box spaces when you go progress through the game. So I have 100 right now that I could have without the subscription. So I could very easily just get rid of all the extra Pokemon that I don't need and only keep the top VGC mons and just play with those and play for free.
Right. Now, here's one of the things that we need to talk about, Pokemon Pokopia and how that was a digital-only release. You know, I feel like Pokemon Pokopia was Nintendo, Pokemon Co., and Game Freak trying to see if they could get away.
A test.
Right, yeah, to see if they could get away with releasing new games as digital-only releases rather than physical releases. Because, you know, that's a big topic with the whole Sony situation, the whole ownership of gaming. Now, let me ask you a question. If Generation 10 of Pokemon was to come out, there's no Wi-Fi battling in Gen 10. Champion still doesn't have 6v6 singles, and Gen 10 is a digital-only release. It doesn't even have the key card. It's just a digital only release. Would you get it?
Oof.
And wait, let me quickly say this. While you're thinking about that, to give me an answer, the people that is watching this video, I want you to ask yourself that question. If if Gen 10 came out, Winds and Waves, it was a digital only release. It doesn't even have the key card, which the key card is a piece of shit. But anywho, it's a digital only release. There's no Wi-Fi battles in Gen 10, and Champions still didn't come out with 6v6 singles battling, and you can't manipulate the timer the way you wanted to. Would you still get Gen 10?
I would definitely have to think about it a lot more. It would probably really depend, because the main reason why I continue to play Pokemon and love Pokemon, I mean, the draft and the Battle Hub community has been a big part of that. I mean, the reason why I fell in love with Pokemon so much, honestly, is because of the Wi-Fi battles that my friend and I would have all throughout high school. And, you know, training the Pokemon, because for a while he was like my rival, and to be able to beat him. So it was having those battles with him all throughout high school and battling with him. And now that kind of transferred over into the community as at large and battling all of them. And if there's not a way to be able to easily interact with people and to be able to train and battle with them, then that kind of reduces me wanting to get it. I mean, Legends ZA I knew that it wasn't going to have the battling kind of like Legends Arceus, but I got it because it was a nice story and I wanted to continue off of X and Y, and I knew that there would probably be something like Indeed There Was, where I can transfer the mons from Legends ZA and get the Mega Stones and in Champions, just like with Legends Arceus.
Right.
Legends Arceus I mainly got, even though I knew I wasn't going to like it. It was a good investment for me because I've still gotten dividends from that, honestly, from being able to easily get the Hisuian mons and to be able to transfer Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet, put them in there, and evolve them to their Hisuian forms. So even though my experience playing the game wasn't good, which I think a big reason why my experience wasn't good was because I did a playthrough of it, and I think being so focused on the playthrough, it kind of took away from my experience. So I want to do another playthrough of just me personally playing it. That'll probably have a better experience from that. But
yeah, like no recording. You just play
exactly
it,
just me playing it. Yeah. And so Legends Arceus, I still was a good investment because I was able to use it to help my competitive and help my YouTube channel. You know, same with Legends ZA. Right. Now, if we're continuing down this path for Gen 10, for me, it might still be worth it. I don't know if there's still not going to be 6v6 singles. It honestly really makes it a big question for me whether or not to continue to pursue it. It probably depends on how deep I get into VGC, because I'm planning on starting to go to regionals and stuff. So if that's the case, I might still get it, but it'll probably be a big question for me, and whether or not my friends in the singles community are still going to get it. But the fact that I'm even questioning it is a big thing, because otherwise it wouldn't have even been a question for me. You know what I mean?
And that's why
the key card issue, right? Because the way it works, for those of you who don't know, it doesn't have the game on it. All it has is a licensing thing where it's like, okay, you bought the game, now we're gonna download it, not onto the key card. No, it's gonna download and take up space on your Switch, which I don't like. I mean, that a big reason why I got the Switch 2 as well is because of how much more storage it has, so at least it can allow that. My old Switch, you can't download anything. I download Fortnite or I download Fire Emblem Three Houses and I don't have any more room. There's no storage. So I don't want to have to deal with that storage. That's why I always prefer physical releases, because it's stored on the key card and it's not going to take a bunch of space. If we're going to have everything on key card now, I'm going to have to start getting SD cards.
Exactly.
All the extra games. So this is a whole other thing. It's just not necessary. And there's no reason. There is zero reason for them to do that. Just keep putting them on the physical cartridge. The only reason why they would do that is obviously because they cost them less money, so they're getting more profit.
Exactly. And I want to go back to ZA. You said that, because of ZA, it might be hopeless to even fight Pokemon or to convince the gaming community, but you also have to keep in mind, a a lot of people compare Legend ZA to Digimon Time Stranger. You know about Digimon Time Stranger?
I've heard people talk about it. Yeah, about how good of a game it is.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, they say Time Stranger is a game made by passion, right? Namco Bandai, they love Digimon, and the people that worked on the game, you could feel the love, passion, the time and energy that they put into the game. And the game sold well over 1 million units, and it's going to sell even more because it's being released on the Switch too.
Yeah.
So, and now you compare it to ZA. ZA is just a lazy cash grab. Again, if you watched my Voice of the People, and if you also watch my Let's Play, while me and my homeboy are talking about the game, or again, my satire of the game, I talk about the issues with the game. Like, how, when you crouch down and you're trying to catch a Pokemon and you try to throw a Pokeball at the Pokemon, you can't really get it when you crouch down. You have to get too close to it, and it kind of defeats the purpose of crouching down. You could catch it when you stand up, but it's like that's the whole purpose of crouching down to catch it. Or like when you're battling, what do you call it again? Those rogue Mega Evolved Pokemon, right?
Yeah,
and you're trying to run around and dodge enemy attacks. When you give your Pokemon an attack, you pause to do a pose to give out that attack, so the Pokemon can use that attack. But the thing is, how are you posing when the rogue Pokemon, if you as the trainer take enough damage, you black out, and that's game over, and you lose resources, you lose money, you lose items. That's bad game design. I'll give you another example. Say when you're trying to lock onto a Pokemon, whether you're trying to catch it or whether you're trying to fight it, you locked onto a Pokemon and there's multiple targets. If you want to lock onto another target, you have to dislock onto the primary target and then try to lock on again. And when you do that, there's no guarantee you're going to lock onto the other target that you want to lock onto. Here's why it's good to play other games. Because when you play other games, you see the time, energy, love, and care that they put into those games. From graphics, animations, story, characterization, to simple gameplay mechanics. There are games, action games, right? Where if you're locking on to a target, you can press and hold the lock on button, and you could use the analog stick to lock on to other enemies. There's even some games, right, where you're pressing and holding the lock on button and you're using the analog stick to lock on to other enemies.
Man, it's like Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda.
Right, the area around you will slow down so that you'll have an easier time to lock on to the enemy, and then you could attack that enemy. I'll give you another example. There's even some games where you could pause the game, right? And while the game is paused and nothing is moving, you could just press the lock on button, use the analog stick, and just freely lock on to whoever it is you want. Why didn't they put it in Pokemon? You just mentioned Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You know for a fact that they do that. Listen, let me tell you something. Pokemon 30th anniversary, when they had that Super Bowl ad, could you imagine how much money they spent on that ad?
Oh yeah, all the paid actors and all the people,
Lady Gaga was on that shit, bro. Lady fucking Gaga was on that shit. I could only imagine how much money. I could imagine simply having Lady Gaga on that must have costed more than the ad itself, than the time that they used to put on that. Because I know the Super Bowl ad, to simply get half a minute, you're spending millions of dollars. They had like 1 minute and 10 seconds, and Lady Gaga was on there. So I'm thinking they probably spent like over 100 mil just for that ad, man.
Yeah, that was not worth it. They should have just advertised Pokemon Champions with that. I mean, come on, because get competitive Pokemon to a wider audience. Remember the 20th anniversary. The 20th anniversary around Sun and Moon was way better. You know why? We had every month there was a new mythical out. They had the eShop or the codes at GameStop or the online codes from your trainer account. You know, we had stuff like that. We had the virtual console come out, which we did get with Fire Red and Green at least. Mm-hmm. We had Pokemon Go came out that summer. We had Sun and Moon come out at the end of the year. So it was like all year there was like stuff spread throughout. It's kind of like they smushed everything right around spring, and now it's kind of like we're just left. Well, I guess we got the Pokemon Champions mobile release, but other than that, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's going to be much else.
Right.
I hope maybe we get Gen 3 Virtual Console maybe later in the year, but that's a big if.
I think you will get Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald. I think I'm not gonna lie, like, even though my mindset is on a boycott Pokemon kind of thing, because yeah, I have Champions videos on my channel, but I haven't spent a dime on Champions. I haven't spent any. Like, I was even contemplating getting the starter pack, because that would have at least given me an extra 50 free spaces, and that would have given me the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee soundtrack. But I didn't even spend money on that because my homeboy kind of encouraged me not to do it, because he's like, what do you need the extra box space for, man? Just use Pokemon Home, just transfer the mons in and out, make room. Yeah, like I don't want to give them a dime. I mean,
me personally, I do like how I have like almost 400 Pokemon in there right now from all my breeding. And I literally like sort them by the Pokédex and like by descending or ascending, so I can like go through and scroll through them all, see what I want. Because like for me, that's how I team build. Is I look, it's kind of like the Showdown team builder. I go through and I say, all right, let me get this Pokemon, or well, I'll go with that one. And I'm constantly changing up. So for me, it makes it more convenient. Of course, I mean it's an investment for me and the channel, so it's worth it for me. For the average person, I can definitely see how that would be a much tougher sell, though.
Right. And me, like I said, I actually make Champions content. I have some Champions videos on my channel where I showcase various mons that I use. Right now, you're only going to see the singles battles aspect, but I do indulge VGC. I'm going to upload that in the near foreseeable future. But yeah, it's like because there's a part of me that's like, I don't want to give Game Freak and Pokemon Co. my money, because I hate what they're doing. And that's kind of like it's like the whole energy of my channel is, I guess you could say, it's rebellion. It's rebellion against the dick riding cocksuckers that act like Pokemon could do no wrong. They think they treat Smogon like a religion, and Smogon is the truth, and people can't have an opinion, they can't voice their views. So the whole point of my channel, it's a rebellion against this mindset, this energy, you know? It's really just a big fuck you to this mindset, this energy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's never a good thing to get stuck in one point of view. It's always good to hear other points of view and to consider what other people are thinking. You don't want to be stuck in an echo chamber, for sure. That's what I always try to avoid.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why Voice of the People is so good, because people need to see two individuals. We love the series, we love the franchise, but we have different views. But are we killing each other? Are we making fun of each other? No. We're being respectful. We're being civil. We're speaking like gentlemen, like human beings, right?
Yeah.
You could do that. I could be your friend, and you could be my friend, and we could have two totally different opinions. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Why are we killing each other?
Human nature, I don't know, tribalism.
Yeah. And you know what? People like Shofu and Pokeaim, they should be doing what I'm doing, but they're not. So I have to do it.
Yeah, hopefully maybe we'll reach a wider audience. We'll see. Continue to force, because it's always good to have discourse and discussion on this type of stuff.
Right. So we've covered a lot, right? We covered Pokemon 30th anniversary. We covered Smogon, the energy of the Pokemon community. Let's see. Some stuff that I want to add. So yeah, like, Pokemon makes all this money. The things that we discussed about, they could add it just like that, but they don't want to. The only way they're going to do it is if we come together as a community. We say we're not going to buy it.
Yeah. I think also one more thing that I wanted to say about that is, if they're acting this way because of greed and capitalism, right? the people in charge, are they really gonna like change it's kind of like a person that's like forced to like, oh, I gotta actually try and I gotta do this. Would we rather have that, or would we rather have someone that's gonna be passionate no matter what? You know, like I want somebody that has the passion that these other gaming companies have that make like Digimon and stuff. We need people like that at Game Freak, because obviously the Game Freak people now don't have that passion. So it needs to be somebody that's going to have it regardless of monetary incentive, you know, and that's going to act. And there must be some people, because you mentioned earlier about the people that put like the trap inch stuff in and the shading and the textures and scrolling and all that. So there must be some people like that. I guess we just need more of it, and we need more of them for like directors, because I know you've mentioned how you don't like Masuda, who was the director.
Masuda's the bane of Pokemon.
I didn't realize that he was the director of BDSP. I used to put all the blame on Ilka, and that's why I couldn't stand Ilka, but then I was like, oh, maybe it was Masuda. It's crazy, because I used to always love Masuda because he made the Masuda method and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, I guess maybe he turned evil at some point. I don't know. But I don't know. We need different people in charge, obviously, at Game Freak. But that's the thing, is that people are going to age out, and hopefully maybe we can get some better people, some fresh blood in that Game Freak. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe it's going to take, I don't know, some sort of like partnership with like the American community bridging over to Japan and like having more communication between the two teams or something. I don't know. Something's got to change though, because obviously there's been this downward decline, and it might only continue as time goes on. And there might be more people that start to have these types of opinions.
Mm-hmm. Here is the hope. The hope is this. Pokemon Legends ZA, again, it sold less than Legends Arceus. People are comparing it to Time Stranger. People generally do not like ZA. You can go online, they will say they generally don't like it. Now, the Switch 2 hasn't really been selling that well. I mean, it's been selling well in general, but it's not selling as well as Nintendo wants it to sell.
People, well, it makes sense. People don't feel for it. I mean, I got it because it was going to be an investment for me, and that way I could have two Switches, and I could afford it. But a lot of, I mean, in this economy, you got to keep in mind, people are getting stretched thin. They're not able to spend, I mean, it's a big price jump from $300 to $450. I mean, to me, the Switch was always, I always use the Switch to kind of be like, is it worth to get something? If $300 is the price of a Switch, am I going to get that much out of this? Now it's up to $450, and it's going to go even higher because of, I think they might go up to $500 or something because of all like the economic stuff going on. Mm-hmm. So, people probably won't be getting as many Switch 2s as we had Switches.
Right. Now, the thing is this, the hope is for Pokemon Gen 10 to not sell over 10 million units. I feel like if Gen 10 sells less than 10 million units, which is a genuine possibility because not that many people own a Switch 2, that might get their attention. It might get Game Freak and Pokemon Co's attention to be like, okay, we got to put in some effort. So that's the hope, for Pokemon to sell less than 10 million units. And I think we could do it. I think we can.
All right, there we go. A great discussion.